Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another fine episode of Talkin Trailer Trash. This week we're going to be talking about Jurassic Park and seeing if life will find a way in the new trailers that we've seen, and if it will have new life in the theaters. Coming in June 12th, I believe it was. Alright, and as always, I'm James.
I'm William.
I'm Dennis.
And I'm Diane.
And partially, most of us are sick. So if we sound a bit strange or get a little bit loopy, that's probably why. No, we're not drinking this time. Anywho.
Yet.
Alright.
Perfect.
Let's start off with our reactions to the first two trailers. The official one and the one they released at the Super Bowl. Open floor.
Big thing here is June 12th, so we don't have as far to wait for this one. And no, I was just going to go into kind of some of the questions that I had as far as this movie versus the other three. Stuff that I don't know if they're going to touch on, because it looks like it's not really a reboot as much as it is a continuation. All right. With that, the first thing that came to mind, and I don't know, maybe it's because I read the original Jurassic Park book and I always thought about this element when it came to the other two movies, and that was, I'm going to go straight technical into it, the fact that the first Jurassic Park, that island was supposed to be a theme park.
Mm-hmm. Because
it was supposed to be a theme park, you remember how they were keeping the dinosaurs in check?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was the lysine dependency.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Are they going to use that as a factor again, since they're trying to do another park versus just islands where they had originally intended for them to just roam free in the first place?
That's a good question.
Well, by Jurassic Park 3, hadn't they worn out that lysine and they were still there?
Well, that was a different island.
Okay.
Yeah, the original island that was a theme park, it was only those dinosaurs that they genetically made to be lysine dependent.
Okay.
Right.
That was to keep them under control. And they said that the second island was like the factory floor. So
Like their breeding ground, basically.
Right.
Exactly.
Where they test out new dinosaurs, see how they were, they're going to survive beyond the cloning stage and everything.
In the wild on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for them to have that already in canon, that they have a way of controlling the population, or in fact controlling these dinosaurs to a certain extent, since they've went all out now and completely made a genetically modified dinosaur, that would pretty much be it. I mean, if they have the technology to genetically make a dinosaur, they should have some type of fail-safes in place.
Well, you would think. I mean, especially learning from the last three movies about how important it is to have it.
Which we hope that they did.
And to use it, which we hope that they do, in the coming. But then that also begs to mind, if it does have a contingency, then wouldn't they just use it once the Indominus Rex goes all wonky?
That's what I was going to say. Then that wouldn't have a second or third movie after this one.
Mm-hmm.
If that fail-safe works perfectly.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something going on with that fail-safe in this one.
Or if they use it at all.
Yeah, totally.
Because they haven't, even though it's just a trailer, they haven't really indicated that they're going to use that contingency plan at all.
Yeah.
Even though for the first one, most people was like that'd be perfect as just end everything else. But then again, with limited staff they had in the first movie, would they be able to activate it?
Well, and I'm sorry, in the first one, but don't you remember Laura Dern's character going, "That's the thing, John, you never had control."
Mm-hmm.
So do they think they have better control here? And again, that contingency just goes stupid after how many islands will this be now? Is this going back to the first island? Do we know?
No, we don't. Yeah, there's no discernible proof that this is the first island.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really see it being the second island either.
Yeah, because then they'd have to kill off all the dinosaurs. So it'd probably be easier just to start fresh on a different island.
Well, you know what? It could be the first island. only because after so much time, all of the dinosaurs on that island would have been dead already.
Right.
Because
That's
they were.
true.
And if they had the electronic gates and all that, just to
Mm-hmm.
to revamp and put those things up.
That's true.
Because it looks like they're reusing most of the existing equipment.
Yeah, except that this time they put in a monorail when the gates open up instead of just having a driveway. So it kind of looks like they could have revamped it.
Yeah.
Or it could be a new island. We still don't know.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
then that brings to my mind a question: who's paying for all this?
That's true, because if you remember from the first two movies, the whole news about InGen, its debt problems and everything.
Yeah.
Who's going to be backing all of this?
Disney.
Of course, it has to
It
I was
makes
going to
perfect
say
sense.
Disney.
I was going to say a certain culture too that tends to have a lot of money, but I didn't want to put
Right.
anybody out there on this podcast. So
Yeah, Disney basically said, we'll do it as long as you put a monorail in.
Yeah.
Well, and why do you think it's Jurassic World? We got Disney World.
That's true.
Okay.
It
It could have been Jurassic Land. 'Cause
Thank
it's
you,
Disney.
see?
That would have been too obvious a notation.
Yeah, but yeah, and then Jurassic Land, it doesn't strike awe and terror,
Yeah.
But neither does Jurassic World.
and neither does Transformers: Dark of the Moon. But
That's
If there's a teacup ride in here, then I want to see it. Okay.
that
And would that be the pterodactyls on the teacup ride spin?
that'd be
know?
kind of Flintstones it.
Thank you.
Now, in the trailer, the pterodactyls were attacking people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So this new dinosaur, the new genetic dinosaur, isn't going to be the only threat.
that's true. And I would say in one of the other videos that maybe some of the other dinosaurs are going to play a effect into the terror as well. Like something happens that puts the whole island on lockdown.
Yeah.
Because as we see, in the one trailer, just all pterodactyls is coming out, grabbing people. Something's going wrong on the island.
So we don't have Tomorrowland. We have Raptorland. Okay. We don't have, the animal kingdom. We have what? The dinosaur kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all those shut down at once. Like the really, really old movie Westworld.
Yeah.
Which was, had the medieval land, it had the Wild West land. I don't remember there was one or two other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But each park eventually shut down because all the computers went wrong.
Right.
So are they going to have the reptile world or the amphibian world?
Yeah, and everything's going to shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's an interesting point, though. Add another level of terror. The whole island gets shut down.
Maybe,
And then maybe the Indominus Rex starts to systematically destroy certain safeguards that allows the other animals free, kind of like in the first one.
Yeah, because they had that tube river ride.
Yeah.
So that could be, if it wasn't the monorail, the connection to between the different parks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and even if you look up the on say Jurassic Park or Jurassic World wiki, they even have a giant map to show where all the different dinosaur exhibits are. So it is kind of acting like Disney World.
Yeah, and that actually kind of goes back to the first one too, because remember they shut down the raptor fences, or this is where the T-Rex fences are. Except for those who were not meat eaters.
Yes.
Like the girl said, that needed to be caged. The free roaming ones. They, it wasn't their park as much that was contained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. Any other comments?
Well, there is something else on my mind. I do remember in one of the trailers that we did see that whole underwater aspect with that giant water-dwelling dinosaur that's eating an entire great white shark.
Oh, the Mesosaurus.
For one thing, that's pretty cool seeing something that big eating a whole shark.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of it makes me wonder: is there going to be more water-dwelling dinosaurs that we haven't seen in any of the three movies?
Well, that's a possibility.
They made the Loch Ness Monster?
Essentially. It's basically like the Loch Ness Monster fused with a giant alligator
Yeah.
fused with Beyonce.
All
It's this
show.
All show giant diva.
All show. Okay.
But then you also got to think about it too. How in the world did they train it, or did they put into its genetic code to act like it's like a
Adult?
Shamu.
Yeah. Maybe that's the only way it could get fed. So it's Pavlov's dog, you know. You open the gate, you hang the thing up there, and this is how you get food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, hopefully they go into explain, like, how in the world they got certain of these animals trained.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't want to see in there is raptors juggling at some point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you guys see the Deep Blue Sea, that one scene where the creator is finally going after her creation because she realizes it's an issue. You know, that would, to me, that just spoke between that and aliens of you know, finally she's realized, well, not in aliens, of course, but in the Deep Blue Sea, that she screwed up no matter what, and her prize creation is a holy terror. So it's time to do something with it. So I see a lot of different little, to me, personal snippet throwbacks to some of the first Jurassic movies, but also to some other scary animal movies.
Yeah.
You know.
Which actually brings something to my mind. The original plot for Jurassic Park 4, they were actually going to introduce talking dinosaurs if they kept going along the same line with the same director.
Mm-hmm.
It did not look good for
Nobody wants to see
another
talking
movie,
dinosaurs.
especially since we've got The Land Before Time to thank for that.
Land Before Time was awesome.
I
But-
can't see the movies again.
The first Land Before Time was awesome. That's all I gotta say. Anywho,
Well,
yeah,
the
I
first
mean,
Land Before Time was the only one that had Spielberg and George Lucas taking helm.
True, and after
the rest of them
that,
are just spin-offs.
it's terrible, terrible spin-off.
Does Crichton have any input in these newer Jurassics?
He's dead.
He passed away a while ago, actually.
Did he draft anything before he died? Do you know? Left any like story notes?
I don't believe so, but they
Okay.
probably did.
I know they followed his book closely, but they altered a few details, like they do with
Anything.
any book to movie adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if he made a draft, I doubt they followed it for this version.
Okay.
Nah, yeah.
So do you think it's just a moneymaker? What do you think it's gonna rate between moneymaker and a good story?
Probably moneymaker more so than good story, but it's yet to be seen. I mean, the trailer doesn't give us a whole lot.
I'm hoping good story, because that was what the third one was lacking. The second one had an okay story.
Had Jeff Goldblum
Yeah, that basically made the movie.
and Julianne Moore, who's just awesome in just about anything she does.
Yes,
True.
So yeah,
but I mean, the third one, the story sucked.
I know. Like they said, what did you guys say before we started? What country would let people hang glide?
Yeah. I
around
mean, what
and-
government will allow them to hang glide and fly around like willy nilly?
Yeah. Over an island, they know people are going to get snatched, like, frisbees out of the sky.
Yeah, I mean, you think that they
Well,
have...
you know what? I think I have an answer for that.
Okay.
The government, by the time the third movie came out, the government was trying to keep the island completely under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
If you specifically tell people, don't go to this island, you're going to have people that are going to want to go to the island to find out why.
That's true.
So they figured, let's just keep the island a secret. And it just so happened that they stumbled upon, some people stumbled upon it enough to figure, oh, this is a nice place to hang glide around or do this or that.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like the beginning of the second movie with the Ritz family that dock on the second island.
Yeah.
Just
Gotcha.
because probably nobody said anything to them.
Right. Okay.
Well, I mean, the little girl didn't recognize any of the little dinosaurs, the troodons.
Well, that's because that I was never made aware of to the public. It's like at the end.
Going with what you're saying, yeah.
It's at the end of Jurassic Park 2, Lost World, whatever you want to call it. Then everybody knew about that island and that there were dinosaurs there.
And wasn't Malcolm sued for breaking a restraining order or something?
Yeah.
He signed a
Non-disclosure
non-disclosure confidentiality agreement, and
Talked about the island and everything, but of course that was with Engine, that wasn't with Hammond.
right.
So
That's true. That's funny. That brings to mind something Muldoon said in the first movie. They should all be destroyed. I mean, it's like, why let those things run around?
Thank you. They're lethal at 6 months or 8 months, and I
Yeah.
do mean lethal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they look cuddly when they're born. It's like, oh, hey, you know, you're so cute. And then when they fall around, it's like, I remember you. Dinner.
I'm a little animatronic raptor. Now look at me. I'm big enough to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't just sucking on your thumb then. I was tasting.
Yes.
You were an appetizer. And what is it Malcolm said? You know, first it's ooh.
And then the running.
And the screaming.
But then it's also an interesting point, too, that I remember, because Jurassic Park was on a couple days ago. It's that Hammond said that he was always personally there when the dinosaurs has, so that they could get a mother feel around him.
An imprint.
That makes me wonder, though, does that mean that they respond to him particularly? Like, they won't hurt him or attack him because he was always there to imprint that thought into their mind? And will that be transferred into the new movie with the new head geneticist?
Yeah.
I wish that they could have explored that, because that's a really interesting side concept to the entire story. Who knows? Maybe they wouldn't have attacked him.
Yeah, I mean...
So would have remembered his smell.
Mm-hmm. They would remember his scent, his voice.
His voice, right?
Yeah. Those teeth.
Yeah. But of course...
Sorry.
Those terrible Scottish teeth.
But of course, we never found out because for the entire movie, he was his head away in a bunker.
Thank you.
So
Giving
we don't
bad
know...
directions.
Hey.
He's
But...
old, he's Scottish. It's not his fault.
So here's a few ideas. We don't, because of the trailers are real simple right now, so we really don't have an idea of what the plot is going to be. So I'm just going to throw some things out there and just see how it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? What if this park, Jurassic World, was being developed alongside Jurassic Park? Now, Hammond, he was spearheading Jurassic Park because he wanted the dinosaurs to be he wanted people to see dinosaurs in their natural habitat. While unknown to us at the time, he originally was working with a partner who had different views. She wanted it to be more of a SeaWorld or a Disney World type of attraction.
Right.
So they parted ways.
Mm-hmm.
So the first three films are basically following what happened with Hammond's direction of taking things, to whereas now we've got another direction in seeing what would have happened if the dinosaurs were made more user-friendly for a park experience.
That's an interesting theory. I definitely didn't think about that.
Somehow I don't see them taking that direction, only because you've got to... I mean, it's going to be a slash reboot anyway, but you still have to explain the fact that you've got some other islands and you've got other people working on the same thing and it never got talked about.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And never got found out.
Right.
Well, that, and then trying to make the time frame look the same.
That's true, too.
You know, if Hammond and her diverged at the same time frame, then this whole new park with all this new technology and things like that. And yeah, maybe they invested more time in the technology to contain these animals.
Yeah.
But I think they'd have a hard time making it look like it was in sync.
I have an explanation for that as well.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
The other doctor did not have a firmer grip on cloning the dinosaurs that Hammond did. The other doctor tried to steal that technology in the first Jurassic Park.
Oh, I know what you're talking
and
about.
that's why they needed Dennis Nedry in order to get them the samples.
Oh.
Since they never got the samples, it took them much longer to get their park up and running. So there was a larger time frame between Jurassic Park opening than Jurassic World opening.
That makes sense, especially about the rival competitor.
Yeah, because we never did find out who was paying for those.
Right. So that makes total sense.
He's just smirking. Look at him.
That makes total sense.
Okay, but okay. All right, throw your next idea out.
Oh, may I interject?
Of course.
This would also make sense.
Jack Underhill.
Thank you. This would also make sense what she says about we've learned more about dinosaur genetics in the past few years than we have in a few decades.
Mm.
Maybe that's what she meant. Maybe they were working on cloning and creating their own dinosaurs,
Right.
as in connection with your idea, Dennis.
Yeah.
Right. Right, and then her company and InGen probably merged together to be able to pool the resources to be able to develop the technology faster.
Right.
And maybe her company, once InGen folded, just took
Mhm.
whatever their profit was and rolled
Yeah.
with it. All right, I'll keep that open. I'll accept that one. I'll be the voice of caution here. But that's just like an Alien. They left so many
Devil's
things out
advocate.
at the end of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like how when there was an Aliens, to sit there and speculate how they were going to have another one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there was the cat, and there was all these other ways that something alive could have been impregnated
Mm-hmm.
that were kind of never touched on. You know, in the same way with that, you're right. Nobody ever says, you know, you never saw in any of the first three somebody going back to try and find
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the
canister.
cloning and the canister or somehow the science that made them.
Mm-hmm.
It was all kind of oops.
Yeah.
Plus, there's also no signs of the name InGen anywhere in the trailer.
Yeah,
No
totally
true
true.
as well.
No InGen
Yeah.
logo or symbol or anything like that whatsoever.
That's true too, because it also brings to mind, since the leader, you know, basically the head CEO of InGen got eaten.
Yes, he deserved to be eaten.
He was
Yes.
he probably gave that poor dinosaur heartburn.
Yeah.
He was so bitter. Ugh.
You know, it brings to mind too that sometime after that incident, they probably either folded or they came to agreement with the other company to be able to merge.
Or
To be
whoever
able to-
all their
this-
investors were. Just,
Be
you
able
know.
to silence the investors,
Yeah.
save face, what have you.
Yeah.
Next idea.
Okay. The next idea goes completely in the other direction. I definitely hate to see this, only because it goes too far science fiction-y with Jurassic Park.
Okay.
And that's essentially taking the human brain and merging it with a dinosaur in order to make it smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky, but okay. I can actually see somebody coming up with some crazy story that, you know, me and my lab partner were in a situation where
We had bras on our heads.
Weird science.
No,
And I'm not telling if they do now.
I'm thinking more along the lines of a lab accident, and the only way to save them is to put their consciousness into a dinosaur.
Oh.
Like Transcendence or Lawnmower Man. Let's go even
Yes.
before
Yeah.
Transcendence. You know?
Yes.
Because then that perfectly explains having a dinosaur that is intelligent enough to kill for sport and do basically whatever it wants.
Well, I like the racing raptors that come out of those chutes.
Yeah. Yeah. You
You
can
know?
tell those are specifically modified to be able to.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk specifically about those raptors and Chris Pratt on the motorcycle. A lot of people think that they might be security,
I know.
or that maybe he imprinted himself on them like Hammond did with other dinosaurs.
So he could be
Because-
like their mother figure, and they'd be responding to him and everything.
Well, and then holding the like holding him up, like, okay, on your mark, get set. He's got like 4 of them there, you know, and then so it's like they are responding to him, and then riding around him like a posse or a herd,
Yeah.
you know. So there's, you know, it's that's really an interesting concept too. How they've been modified.
Yeah,
But
it'd
with
be awesome.
all this research that they're talking about, as far as like, you know, finding out new stuff about dinosaurs, and in fact, if they're going off of the stuff that they've been researching recently, such as like some dinosaurs being like, or coming from birds or something like that. Think of the raptors as just
Big turkeys.
large carrier pigeons,
Oh yeah.
That makes sense.
because, you know, history has shown that they've been able to train birds to do, you know, certain tasks.
Well,
So,
look at falcon, you know,
Falcons.
falconry.
yeah.
You know, training them to hunt and then bring the food back. That's totally against an animal's nature when they hunt. You know?
And also crows.
Uh-huh.
Crows are very smart as well as ravens.
Okay.
They're pretty smart. They can also be trained to do certain tasks as well.
That's funny. Yeah, and they use ravens for all that in the Game of Thrones.
Because in the first Jurassic Park, they filled in the DNA blanks with frog DNA, right?
Yeah.
So see, they could have used a different subject to fill in the missing DNA parts, like birds in this case.
That's true.
They should have used bird DNA.
Yeah, because
It would've-
you use a specific frog DNA, right? That could change its sex from male to
Yeah.
female, which is how the dinosaurs started to.
But
Nobody saw that going down the production line.
it just brings to mind what Hammond said. We spared no expense. Couldn't you have spared a little more expense to get people who knew what they were doing?
Or at least test out to see if the genetic code would have this happen or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the 90s. You had the technology to see what would happen to a genetic sample if you add something to it that's not supposed to be there, to see what the end result would possibly be.
What did Malcolm say? But bam, you packaged it. Bam, they didn't.
Yeah.
They just saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just saw the potential in their mind.
Yeah. But they didn't do anything like to study, to examine.
Exactly.
They just saw it and ran with it.
I mean, look at Hawaii. They brought mongooses over because Hawaii had so many snakes. Now Hawaii's overrun with mongoose.
Hmm.
You know, so they just saw a quick answer, a quick response. Didn't look long term. Like apparently the scientist, Bryce Howard, doesn't on this one.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
They spared no expense to create the ultimate dinosaur.
Pretty much.
I mean, in a Deep Blue Sea, the reason she was doing that with the shark's brain is because she was trying to fight Alzheimer's. She, you know, the premise was, sharks never forget or whatever. They never have an issue with that. So instead of slowing down and being careful.
Yeah. Or like Planet of the Apes. Rise of Planet of the Apes, basically.
Yeah.
That's roughly the same thing.
Yeah.
Trying to find cure for Alzheimer's. They're using apes.
And we see how well that worked.
Yeah. On the Rise of Planet of the Apes, where talking apes are basically the new dominant species.
And there's barely any humans left.
From the trailers, we don't really see a human villain. And in the other Jurassic Parks, the dinosaurs were the biggest problem. But you always had some human element that kind of either got the ball rolling or kept the storyline going. In this movie, I was wondering, the question came to mind, why did they make a genetically modified hybrid dinosaur?
Because they could.
Probably because they're trying to boost sales. I mean, once you see a T-Rex 10 times roar in your face, you know, the nostalgia of it starts to get old.
Didn't you tell me, like about a year ago, you said that there was like a previously unseen trailer of Jurassic World?
No.
All right. Well, I may have heard this from somewhere.
I remember telling you that one of the premises, I think, from the early drafts was that, you know, they had the whole theme park thing going. And it's like, there was this one kid who saw Jurassic Park, you know, a T-Rex, like, roaring his head off at one teenager. He's looking down, texting his girlfriend on the phone, because it's a T-Rex, you know, everybody in the world's seen one. So they wanted to have something else that captures the imagination, that's going to bring them back in droves. Like, can you believe that they made this, or this thing's here, or what you can do?
That's like tweaking the Cinderella Castle in Disney World to now look like Elsa got to it with Frozen. It's just like a whole new thing.
Yeah, they're just trying to bring in more people.
Yeah.
They're trying to bring in more money, basically.
So then, now how long has the park been open?
That's another thing.
Because here's where I'm going with this. If the park has been open, from the amount of people that are there, it looks like the park is still, it may be in its infancy, but it may have been open for a little while.
At least a year or so.
One of the things I noticed during the scene with the water dinosaur is the devices that people had in their hands. They looked kind of like clear glass, like they had like holographic screens on them. So they had like semi-futuristic devices in their hands, and they were like recording the dinosaur as it was eating the shark. So it kind of tells me that it's a little ahead in the future, just a little bit.
Yeah, but that doesn't indicate.
Possibly.
That doesn't indicate, though, the time period of how long the park's been open.
That's true.
I mean, given the, I guess you'd say given the scope of like from the first trailer, it seems it's been open for at least a year, maybe two.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where I'm going with this, because the technology that the park is using, all of that technology is super advanced.
Mm-hmm.
You can argue that in the time we live in now, you could actually have a park that has all that stuff, but it would be extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
True.
If they overran their budget, then they would probably have to take in other amounts of income in order to keep the park maintained before they can clear being in the negative, being in the red.
Mm-hmm.
What if they attempted to take government contracts in order to pay for the research, with governments anticipating a way of perhaps weaponizing dinosaurs?
How exactly would you weaponize a dinosaur, though?
Well, if you genetically make one, then it can drop in and pretty much
Any environment.
yeah.
So you can have a specific dinosaur for any environment to be able to attack any enemy that you choose. And it's a silent killer, mostly, depending on what in the world you use.
Because if you think about it along those routes, then you've got people like, well, yeah, T-Rex is dangerous, but what if we made its arms a little longer? Mm-hmm. It's like all of that modifications they made to the dinosaur just makes the dinosaur more dangerous.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to like genetically alter a dinosaur and make it, something to see, then give it wings or make it spectacular looking. It doesn't have to be, dangerous, kill you dangerous in order for it to be an attraction. So it looks like a whole lot of the modifications they made, if somebody wanted to weaponize a dinosaur, you'd pretty much do something like that.
Strap a bomb on a comfrey. They're little enough they could just, slip right in there.
Or we'll give it a saddle and then you can...
Yeah.
Oh, then you have a tauntaun, okay?
Yeah, and if you think about, just looking at a couple of bits on like the Indominus, whatever. I mean, it has like what, three, 4 claws?
It has like 4 fingers.
Yeah, to grab and to use. I mean, you think about how smart it is to be able to hunt. Does that mean it's able to use technology too? Like it can figure out how to
open doors,
input passcodes.
That would be frightening.
Yeah, I can just see the Indominus like holding somebody's head so that they can use a retinal.
Yeah,
that would be frightening.
Well, see that
or regurgitate the head out of its mouth.
The whole Pavlov thing. Okay, you're in front of this kind of panel. This is what you press. Mm-hmm. And reward them with food or shark or whatever. Yeah. And still train them. So if they get dropped in a situation like that, they see that panel. It's like instant. Like, oh, okay, I pressed this one and that one. Let me smack this person coming through the door. Press that one. And the place blows up. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. So.
I find that one a little far fetched. It is possible, but in the world, I mean,
I can definitely see I can definitely see them like going to the government for money, showing off the raptors and showing what the raptors can do, and then they're saying, well, what if you had something bigger,
or smaller? Like I said with the compies.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, compies.
I wonder then if that's the only genetically modified dinosaur that they actually made.
Well, that
might be the first
goes back to what he
successful
first
one.
said. Yeah.
But what if they modified the other dinosaurs in the park also, just not as much?
That's what I see. That's how I see the movie ending. I see the movie ending with them taking care of the Indominus Rex, and for some reason, as it closes out, they're just like, should we tell them about the Volt?
Yeah.
And it just cuts to this large room with like 5 of them just sitting.
Yes.
like in cryostasis or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could actually see that. That would be a fantastic ending.
Like the tubes, or whatever. Because they had the tubes in Alien too, and they were trying to regenerate her in the last one. With all the different forms of her. So yeah, that was that would, of course, because they gotta want you to come back to see the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they already know they're doing 3 movies, so they're not gonna. When they did the first Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton had the other 2 books in mind. I don't think they really were planning on doing the other 2 movies.
No.
Because if they were planning on doing the other 2 movies, they would have had all of the characters' roles pretty much solidified for for a 3-movie deal.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell that they were struggling to get. They probably Dr. Grant, for all intents and purposes, probably should have been in the 2nd movie, but they didn't get him until the 3rd. They had to settle for
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
That's not settling.
I was like, well...
well, we can't get anybody else. We'll just take that Jeff Goldblum and Julianne Moore person. Yeah.
Of course, it also would have been stupid for all of them to want to go back to the island at the same time.
Yeah.
True.
Because if they all fought it in their own way,
Mm-hmm.
then there's no way it would be. Let's have a year, 2-year reunion back on the island.
Yeah, but also would have been good if they had like one of them. Well, Dr. Grant kind of did in the 3rd one, but have problems with it, like having nightmares or repressed memories, or having some kind of like panic attacks whenever certain things happen.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome to see.
i.e. the talking velociraptor.
Yeah.
Which is probably where they would have gotten the idea.
And that's the only time where a talking dinosaur is fine with me. It's the only time.
In a dream.
Yes.
Alan.
Where it doesn't,
Alan.
it's not actually...
Yes.
not an entire movie.
And even bringing back Laura Dern's character, Ellie. Just that brief little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a bit... That was a nice little nod.
It's kind of strange though that her son was watching Barney the dinosaur at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Barney Live?
Yeah, it was that old concert thing.
I remember. Okay, I remember that now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's pretty much I think we've covered as much as we can with the 2 or 3 little teasers that they've given us thus far. We'll probably see more than we want to see as the trailers as the trailers show, as the movie gets closer.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I think that wraps things up for today. Just some show notes. By the time you're listening to this, we should have 2 episodes out. Our first episode, which was on the Avengers. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, give that a listen, as that will have been out at least 24 hours before this one. Ran into some production problems, so it took us a little longer to get it out than expected. And you'll see that, in fact, I'll probably put an addendum to that podcast. I was about to say video. To that podcast, because during the recording of that, it was actually 3 or 4 days before Spider-Man was confirmed to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we talked about that during that episode, so essentially we called it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
I am going to say right now, without a doubt, that Disney was tapping my computer, listened to our podcast, and said, guys, we need to make this happen.
Shall we
They're
play?
talking about it.
Shall we play a game?
So yeah, we've got 2 episodes on the books right now for you to enjoy. We also have our Let's Play series 3rd slot that started
About a week ago.
Yeah, about a week ago. We are 6 episodes in with more episodes to come. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, give it a watch. That is on the YouTube channel right now. That for some reason the name will not change. It's still Dennis Weiss. But eventually it's supposed to be 3rd slot, unless I give it a name that's actually going to encapsulate both the Let's Play and the podcast, which is all going to be on that same channel. So we'll figure out something in the future. But for right now, go check that out.
Please.
Yeah, awesome.
We need your views, people, and listens and stuff.
So if you have any show suggestions, you can get in touch with us by what's that email?
talkingtrailertrash@gmail.com.
And we'll leave that for you in the show notes. But for now, I'm Dennis.
I'm Diane.
I'm James.
Not William.
we'll see you in about another week or so.
Peace.